What's good, guys? So, got another deck list for you, and this is from my boy Jack. He helped me. This is definitely a rough draft, but the it's like a cookie cutter list, but we definitely thought about it a bit, and he's a smart dude, so I definitely trust him. And I played this deck in the past, so I'll give you guys my input, what I think about it. After July 1st, Miragestallio is legal, so we're gonna be playing with Miragestallio, and let's get right onto it. The first card is Lady Debug, so you have a choice between Lady Debug or Buffalo, and I think Lady Debug is by far much better. It's a little bit more susceptible to hand trap, but it actually gives you the Gazelle. I think if we had three Gazelle, I would consider playing Buffalo, but for the moment being, I don't care if this is getting hand trapped. Your turn is definitely not over if this gets hand trapped, so play Debug. If it resolves, you probably just win the game. Then another card that I went back and forth. A lot of my friends have gone back and forth. Parallel Exceed. It's one of those cards, gives you a crazy high ceiling, but also plays into Nibiru. So you pick your poison if you want it or not. It is definitely not mandatory, but the boards that you can make when you have Exceed is crazy. It just automatically makes you your Dweller. So I recommend playing it until I see Nibiru in everybody's main deck, which is definitely not going to be the case because Dragon Link just got hit. I think it's safe to play Parallel Exceed, but this would definitely be a flex spot for me. And then the Salamangreat, the monster count. I think this is very standardized, especially now that Stallio is a thing. It's a level 3 XYZ. You definitely max out on Spinny. Before, I used to see when Stallio wasn't in part of this deck, people would really just lower the count to the Salad monster to the point where it was just like one of all the smaller monsters, and then just Gazelle and then Debug. But now level 3 extenders are definitely good, so I would recommend playing 3 Spinny, the 1 Gazelle, 2 Foxy. People were playing 1 for the longest. Now Stallio's back. It's good to have level 3s. 2 Jack Jaguar. If one gets banished, I think it's always nice to have another one, and there's definitely going to be cards that banish from the graveyard. Now that Striker's back, Shark Cannon, Wakero, Call by the Grave, DD Crow if it sees play. So I think the Salad deck always played 2 Jack Jaguar, and especially because of Desires, it's very scary. Jack Jaguar is the card that lets you recycle your extra deck, so I recommend playing two. And then the 1 Falco for some of your combos to make your level 4s and the level 4 XYZs, and it just sets the spells and traps back. And then the hand trap count. So we ended up choosing Nibiru. This can be whatever you guys think the meta like dictates, but it's only the second day. I do think Nibiru is worth playing still somewhere in your deck. I don't know if it's just main deck worthy. So this is another flex spot. Then Ash, obviously, this is not even a flex spot in this deck. You can add Ash back. It's almost an engine piece. It's a level 3. Ash is so good in this deck. And then Drill and Lockbird, just because of Drytron. Drytron can definitely be a harder matchup for some of these slower control decks. And if Drytron goes first and you don't have Droll or multiple hand traps. If it's not Droll, you probably need multiple hand traps to stop it. You're probably just going to get FTK'd, so I recommend playing the Droll in decks like this, especially in Salamangreat. You can actually OTK. There's a combo to do that with the access code, the update jammer. So it's fine that they just pass with all their cards in their hand. You can just kill them then, unlike other control decks. Then 3 mining, solid. 3 desires. I'm not gonna explain that. Then the 1 called by the grave, that's fine. 1 circle. 2 will. You could probably. This is all over the place. I think it's really player preference. I've seen 1. I've seen 0. I've seen 3. So we're going with 2 for the moment being. I recommend you guys test it out and see how many you guys would like to play. I think 2 is just like a good number to start with. And then the 1 field spell, Sanctuary. And then the last hand trap, Impermanence. I think Impermanence is literally in everybody's deck. It's really weird if it's not in your deck. And Impermanence is so good right now. And then the traps, Roar, Rage. So if you guys wanted to make space, because this is another thing, I could see myself playing multiples, like 2 Roar, 2 Rage, or like 2 of whichever one you think is better. Right now, I would not be able to say comfortably which one I think is better. They're both really good. You definitely play both of them. But if I see one being more impactful than the other in the format, then I'll play that one at multiples and the other at like a single copy. So that's the main deck. Very standard deck. And then let's get on to the extra deck. Lingeribo negates traps, if you guys don't know, and Cyberus monsters just make it. Very good. I recommend most Salad players play this. Then the 3 Bailings, 3 Sunlight Wolf, 2 Heat Leo. New cards, if you guys are not familiar with it, or if you guys didn't play it for like a few years, Splash Mage just helps you pivot into your bigger Link monsters like your access code. And the transcode, update jammer, access code, Miragestallio, thank God it's back. If you guys don't know what it does, 2 level 3 monsters, and then it just summons a Salamangreat monster from your deck, almost akin to MX Saver Invoker, a banned card, but this one is only restricted to Salamangreats. And it makes it so you can only activate monster fire effects for the turn. So it has some restrictions. That's why I think it's safe for it to come back. But this idea that this deck didn't get a boost is crazy to me. It definitely got a huge boost. Now that Stallio is here, you are so much more resilient to hand traps. If they hand trap you, I've seen this deck get hand trapped once or twice, and they'll just still end on the same field. This deck has always been so good. Unless the cards in the graveyard get banished, it's just going to come back next turn. You will have 3 different effects in graveyard. You'll have a field that is very hard to kill through. So Stallio definitely changes this deck so much. I can't reiterate that enough. And then the last XYZ, Abyss Dweller. So I'm sure you guys can figure out a way to fit a Baguska if you guys like Baguska. I need to see if Baguska is good in the format. If it is, I'll fit that. And there's a few other rank 4s that I would consider playing. But that's it for the extra deck until I actually figure out what the format looks like. But this is definitely a good way to start. And then the side deck, I'll go over it real quick. Simple. Format's undefined right now. So Pangatraps, 3 Cycle Reader. What isn't undefined is the fact that Drytron is good now. So I recommend siding heavy for it or maining cards. So there's Drill, Cycle Reader here. Twin Duster, 3 Anti-Spell, 3 Judgment, 1 Order. Also very cookie cutter side deck, but this is definitely a good template for you guys to start with. I'm definitely enjoying this list. There's a few things that you can definitely tweak around. There's one monster I'm not playing called Salamangreat Foul. I would take a look into it. I think it's okay. Maybe if you're not playing Parallel Exceed, I would play Foul. Definitely has a good effect. But yeah, guys, I definitely recommend trying this deck. This deck is way different than when it didn't have Stallio. The fact that you can just get hand trap, keep playing, set up your interrupt still, and have follow-up. This deck on turn 3 is always killing you. This access code is coming out with 5,300 attacking twice, 10,000, over 10,000 damage. This is going to be so crazy. This whole combo, the Splash Mage, Update Jammer, Transcode, Access Code, really just sells this deck on me. It feels like this deck just makes a Boral Sword on the following turn. Guys, let me know what you guys think about the Salamangreat deck. Do you guys think it's tier 1? I think it's close to tier 1. I think this deck might actually be better than the Striker deck, but we'll see. Leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's some spicy text in this deck that I don't know about. Stay tuned for more, and peace.